What's going on, everyone? I'm Encore. Welcome to another daily reminder that tomorrow never comes. Now, today, what I want to talk about is really Bitcoin, what you hear in the media, all the fear surrounding it right now, the uncertainty, the doubt, what they like to call FUD, and how that kind of differs from what happens on chain. And that's the beauty of Bitcoin, is that we can actually see metrics that are not related only just to price action. And so with the stock market, it's very different, that we really all we see are the charts as a public anyway. That's all we really have access to. It's kind of what's happening as we see it, and what the chart shows us for the prior history of that particular stock, right? For Bitcoin, we can actually see, okay, yeah, here's price, but then there's also what's actually happening on the Bitcoin blockchain as well. And so those two don't necessarily correlate. And what's great is when price action is dumping, but the activity on the blockchain itself, around the blockchain, is actually increasing. So I just want to kind of take you through just one article and really kind of dive into some of the things that they're looked at, the metrics that are used to kind of see how Bitcoin is actually doing from a fundamental aspect. Now, from a stock perspective, you can always find fundamentals about a company, right? So there are similarities there, but that's a lot of digging that you yourself have to do. Here, there are metrics that are readily available that can actually show you what's happening on chain versus what the price action is showing. So today, right now, Bitcoin's hovering around low 40,000s. I think it actually dipped under 40,000 to 39,000 as well. So a lot of fear, a lot of uncertainty, some big meetings next week. So things can fluctuate. You got Ukraine versus Russia. A lot of different things that are kind of playing out. And we can see in the stock market the fear there and how that's kind of playing out. All-time lows across the board. And so how does that translate over to Bitcoin? So we're going to look at, so I really like Cryptos R Us. He's also a YouTuber, but has a platform here, a site of his, which is all just news related. Some very good stuff in here. Okay, but he has a particular article on here that says on-chain data shows Bitcoin network is growing stronger than ever. Okay, and that's actually dated February 18th. So very, very recent, as recent as you can get, because that's today. And so really what's happening here is there's two really big things that are looked on chain. One is the illiquid supply, and two is the hash rate. All right, and how those, either correlate with the price or differ from the price. And it's very interesting to see those two metrics and how it play out. And so, okay, so what does that really mean? Like, if you're not familiar with those, that may be just jargon to you that you don't understand, or that you don't really care to understand. And so how do they why are these significant, right? And just here, he's actually highlighted as well that, the writers have highlighted anyway, that the last 24 hours, Bitcoin has dumped. It actually went below 40,000, right? But despite all this uncertainty, the underlying on-chain data is showing whales. And whales, what defines a whale is any wallet that has 1,000 Bitcoin or more. Okay, so that's a whale. And so we're looking at whale wallets that are showing the accumulation, or whale activity that's showing accumulation of Bitcoin, even though the price is dropping. All right. And so what's the illiquid supply? This is a good article, because even some things that I got from like pieces of it that I wasn't aware of before. And so, really what we're looking at for illiquid supply is what's happening with Bitcoin supply from exchanges, and are they moving off the exchange or moving to the exchange, right? And so the rationale behind that really is historically, when Bitcoin is moved to an exchange, it's really someone's waiting to offload it, right? An exchange is where you buy and sell assets. And so the thinking is, and history has shown, that when there's a huge inflow of Bitcoin onto these exchanges, we're looking, it's very likely that there's going to be some kind of Bitcoin dump that happens where these whales are selling off. But vice versa, or the flip side to that really is when Bitcoin is being removed off these exchanges and they're being put into wallets. So we're actually moving it away from where they could sell it and moving it away from any chance of them offloading it to somebody else. They just want to hold it themselves. Okay, so Bitcoin flowing to an exchange typically means someone's ready to dump it. Bitcoin coming off the exchange into a wallet, someone's trying to hold on to it. For me, I always think of, if you guys know Lord of the Rings, Sméagol, he always says, my precious. So that's, Bitcoin is the ring. They're taking off the exchange because they covet it and they value it. So they're kind of hoarding it, so to speak, right? And so what it says here is that we're not only are we looking at wallets, we're looking at Bitcoin moving from an exchange to wallets that do not have any previous history of selling before. So that's very important. That's a little wrinkle there that was good for me to learn as well. So it's not just going from the exchange to any wallet. It's going to an exchange to a wallet that has never had that has no prior history of selling. And really, that can be broken down that these are either old wallets that have been around forever that aren't selling, or these are new wallets, okay, with no history at all. So you could either have people sitting around kind of hoarding it for a long, long time, or you're having new people come in who are now hoarding, right? And there's always that thing that, well, I mean, can't these new wallets be old people who are just putting it in there that maybe they offload it later on? Yeah, I mean, that is definitely a possibility. I'm sure there are some metrics that can kind of dive into that, but that definitely is a possibility, at least from a rational or common sense point of view. So here, this chart is actually showing the blue line here is the actual supply of Bitcoin, and the black line, the black chart here, or the line on the chart, is actually showing the Bitcoin price. So typically what happens is both seem to correlate very well with each other. So as the blue line, meaning the illiquid supply, is going up, so people are hoarding more, the price action is also going up. So they're kind of going hand in hand. And then you see this little dip right in this area here, and that's when China, declared that they're banning Bitcoin mining for, the 80th time. It's happened time and time again. And as you guys can see, ever since then, things have just been trending upwards, right? Pretty good movement here, parabolic move, really going upwards. So even though price action is kind of trending sideways, maybe bumping up, but then really since November 2021 or so, Bitcoin's trending downwards quite significantly. But look at the blue line, trending upwards quite significantly. So this is showing that even though the price is coming down, the accumulation for Bitcoin and the movement of Bitcoin off of these exchanges is actually increasing. So that's a very, very fundamental bullish movement. Okay, and so what do I mean by bullish? It just means that they wouldn't be doing this if they didn't think of future value for Bitcoin. So it's very positive for Bitcoin, but that's something that's not covered very well in media, whether on purpose or not. But that's a very fundamental point. And the second fundamental point is hash rate. So really just think about, how much computational power it takes to mine Bitcoin. So as that goes up, that means there's more competition, there's more people, there's more mining that's happening across the board. And so that's a really good metric to see how things are kind of trending. So if it's trending downwards, it's not really much demand for Bitcoin, no one's really mining it, or very low activity, which is not a good sign, right? But if it's trending upwards, that's a great sign, regardless of the price. So Will Clement, as they said here, a highly respected on-chain analyst. Love this guy. Follow this guy if you can. Always has some great things to say and some great analysis as well. But he actually not just tweeted this, but this is a tweet of his that will actually show you the hash rate. All right. Again, it's against the price action, and there's a hash rate. So we have the big dump with the whole China issue that was happening. And then you can see here, ever since then, the hash rate has just been increasing and going to all-time highs. So even though the price is coming down, the hash rate's going up. So the competition, the demand for mining Bitcoin has gone through the roof. Okay, so supply, illiquid supply, meaning supply that's not accessible, that's not going to be sold, trending upwards. The amount of power or demand or competition for Bitcoin itself, at least on chain, has gone through the roof, right? So price action down, two fundamentals going up. So very, very interesting how that kind of works out in terms of if you are long-term bullish on the actual technology, the fundamentals of what Bitcoin is. A lot of people kind of jump in thinking they're going to make fast money, quick money, but they don't really dive in to the fundamentals to see what the actual utility, the use cases are for Bitcoin. And that's where you get hurt, because you're just trying to get in and out and you're kind of not in it for the long haul. So anyone who's in it for the long haul, those are two very, very key metrics, okay? Illiquid supply and hash rate. So close your eyes. As long as those two are going well and you are bullish on Bitcoin, you're in a good place. And this is just showing the price action kind of trending downwards. And that's really what I wanted to highlight. So you're going to hear a lot of things, especially as Bitcoin goes lower or at any point dips. You're going to get a lot of media sent, a lot of headlines sent your way. Bitcoin crashing, so-and-so has said it's garbage. You know, another person has said, see, I knew I was right all along. It has no value. Look at gold, yada, yada, yada. Okay? That's not where I stand. That's not where this channel stands. I am a massive Bitcoin bull and about the fundamentals. When I first got into this market, price action was huge for me, and looking at my portfolio was a big thing as well. Like, forget daily, we're talking about on an hourly, minute by minute basis. And now, as I've dove deeper into the technology and the fundamentals, I don't care what it does, right? I accumulate. That's obviously not financial advice for any of you, but if you dive in, you do your research, there's a very good chance that you're going to understand the long-term potential, the long-term use cases, the long-term utility for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies as well, but mainly Bitcoin. You know, it's the big daddy, it's the king of the jungle. And so as it moves, the rest of the market moves. So I would highly advise any of you and all of you to do your research. Don't worry about the price action. I know it's hard, it's very easy to say and difficult to do, but trust me, dive into things like this, the illiquid supply, the hash rate, and really see what's happening under the hood, as opposed to just kind of what you see in the media and the highlights. Okay? Hope that was helpful, everyone. Please, if you like this video, like it, share it, subscribe, all those good things. Leave some comments. I would love to hear from any of you and all of you, what you'd like to see, you know, what you like, what you didn't like. I don't care. Put something in there. Okay, guys, have a great one. And remember, fundamentals, fundamentals, fundamentals. See you in the next one, guys.